In this video podcast series, Train of Thought, Barry takes a deep dive into the subject of digital disruption.
It's an absolute pleasure today, absolute joy and delight to be welcoming Bob Wood to the show. So Bob, founder of Mediatide, to begin with, can you give an overview of your career, your journey, where you began and how you got involved with script code and development?
Yeah, sure. Hello to you, Barry, first of all. Well, basically, I worked my way through a grammar school in Staffordshire, and I came out with a curious mix of art and science, GCE grades. So I was a little bit I don't quite know what to do with my career life with those. I'd always had an interest in design, art, that sort of thing. So in the end, I applied to Stafford College of Art on a fine art course. I did over a year at that, and one of the tutors said, "Why don't you consider graphic design? You obviously got a flair for typography and that sort of thing." So consequently, I moved over to the typography sort of graphic design side. This was obviously way before internet, websites, all that sort of thing. I left the College of Art and I went into a large London advertising agency on the bottom rung, sort of sit in rows at the desk and be given your next job and away you go. And it's a 5 centimetre double column ad in the London Evening News, that sort of thing. So I got a little bit bored with that. And then a friend approached me who I'd been through college with and said, "Why don't we go it alone? Why don't we set up and do our own thing?" My father had got an unused shop and he kindly agreed to let us take it free of charge to get us off the ground.
Yeah.
And that we moved our drawing boards in and went out looking for customers.
Yeah.
And it just built from there, basically.
You got some high-profile customers, didn't you?
Yes, I did, eventually. The internet came along and I was an early adopter. I was a very early adopter with Apple Mac. One of the first Apple Macs to come into the Midlands came into my studio.
Wow.
That led on to other things. Once you get a computer, you start thinking differently about the whole world of design.
Yeah.
And I got an interest in, clients were saying to me, "Hey, have you heard these things about websites? Everyone's getting a website." And I thought, well, I'll investigate this, which I did. And I ended up teaching myself how to build websites from scratch.
And we've just had this conversation off air, actually, haven't we?
Well, yeah. And that obviously leads through to, once you've got a website running, it automatically exposes you to things like database.
Yeah.
And then languages, coding languages. Initially, HTML, how do you make text bold? How do you make it bigger, smaller, indent it, that sort of thing? And then you start thinking, well, what about database-driven websites? How do they work? So you start looking into that. And you then find out, if you're going to use database, you need coding language on the website that supports it. And in the early days, I was into ASP, which is the Microsoft Active Server Pages. That's become a little defunct now, but it's still used quite extensively. That led me on to looking at things like PHP scripting. Obviously, MySQL query language for databases, and basically just kept bolting bits on until I could understand the whole picture. It all worked very well. I attracted some very good customers, amongst others, people such as Smith and Nephew in Birmingham, who manufacture Nivea, Elastoplast, and so and so. A marketing guy who worked there, who I worked extensively for, was headhunted by the Mars Group. He went up to Sheffield to a new and pulled me in. He took me with him. So I ended up with two big clients. And Mars was the Pedigree pet foods, Whiskers, Trill, every pet food pet brand you can think of. Mars Group are at the top layer of that. I got very busy. Ended up with, I don't know, at the height, probably 8 people in the studio, all working furiously.
Yeah.
And I found myself sitting in a car all week, driving to meetings,
Not doing what you
which
want to be doing.
was
Really.
fine. It's fine for one level because I could understand and relate this back to the guys back at base. But it wasn't terribly satisfying. So in the end, I decided to trim it down a little bit and become more hands-on with the coding and so on. Obviously, that led to us working together for a Derby company.
Yes.
One of which I've been working for basically since I left college. I've seen them grow from a backroom thing to quite an impressive outfit.
Yeah, to what they are today. Yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously along came e-commerce, selling stuff over the internet. Big challenge on learning curve, but very satisfying stuff to do, particularly when you see stuff you've done working and selling.
Yeah.
You see things going out the door that wouldn't have gone out the door had you not put into place the engine behind it.
Yeah.
And obviously through that we met and onwards from there, really.
Onwards from there. And kind of the similarities of us is, so I went to art college and very much had that. As I was saying off air, my mum is a fine artist and it was in the family, and I ended up doing graphic design as well.
Yes.
I got into the whole artisan of it. I enjoyed typography and
Yes.
out and all that stuff, and bought an iMac back
Yeah.
then. The first generation, the blue iMac.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Saved up for one of them, and like yourself, taught myself script and code.
Yes.
And learned. We were saying off air, we had to teach ourselves back then how to build a website and how to script it and code it and all the other stuff that comes along. So way before content managed systems today, like WordPress and stuff like that. So it was a totally different time. It was the early days of the internet. It was a bit shaky, to be fair, whether or not you got online with a 50
Absolutely, yeah.
modem. And then, of course, there was the .com crash and all that as well,
Yeah.
So it's great. It got off to a rocky start, really, the internet, but I knew.
Yeah, I mean, in the early days, obviously, it was all dial-up networking, so the connection was very, very slow. You had to use minuscule images rendered right down to the lowest quality you could make them just to get them to load the page.
Yeah, it was painful looking back at it.
Yeah.
And it used to knock your landline out as well when you hooked
Yes,
up online.
yes, it did. Yeah.
So
I remember I also had a Windows server in my office, which I used for practicing on websites. And every time a Windows update came in, I used to have to download it through a dial-up modem, and it would take 8 hours for one upgrade, to download before I could install it. So it was different things now. It would take you probably 20 seconds.
Oh, it's unreal, isn't it?
Incredible, yeah.
So I guess then, so it's kind of funny that we started off in the same place, really, and both of us, I believe, still do the graphic design and creative side.
Oh, yeah.
And always, I think we'll always have a passion for that. But I guess you went more down the coding route, and I went down the marketing route.
Yes.
I think by the time we met in 2017, it was now, I think, that it was almost a perfect alignment, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah, particularly for that particular client, we sort of joined forces automatically and managed to sort of double each other's efforts in a way.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess a couple of icebreaker questions, Bob.
Yep.
Digital disruption, what does that mean to you?
That's where, in my view, it's you look at an existing method of doing things, methodology, and you compare it with the way it could be done to make it more efficient, quicker, less costly, all sorts of reasons. A good best example I can think of is the camera and film industry.
Yeah.
Almost overnight moved from people having films developed in studios, with the film strip, to digital, which
Yeah.
revolutionized everything to do with photography,
Yeah.
right through graphic design.
Kodak missed it, didn't they?
Yep, yeah. And it just collapsed well, almost
Almost.
completely collapsed the film industry
Yeah.
and nearly finished Kodak off. And it was overnight. Once these digital cameras were getting out there, it was
Mm.
just roared away, because everyone could see the benefit.
Yeah.
You
Well,
could take 50 pictures without stopping on the same device. For one thing, you didn't have to stop and take a roll of film out after
yeah.
you'd shot 12 and put another roll in and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, when I was at university, out of all the things I was doing, I was actually learning how to develop in a darkroom.
Yes, yeah, I did
And
the same, yeah.
yeah, and then all of a sudden, digital cameras, and
Yes,
it was just that disruption,
completely
wasn't it?
different, yeah,
Yeah.
completely different.
So I
Yeah,
guess that leads me on to innovation. And when you
yeah.
think about that word innovation, what comes to your mind there?
Yeah, I think it's innovation is the process where changes occur in business methods and practices to bring new, improved, or quicker methods into play. Thinking a good example would be the explosion of online selling.
Yeah.
Companies like Amazon, Temu, and so on
Mm.
have managed to put what was once, lots and lots of isolated stores spread all over the globe where people
Yeah.
had to physically drive to, walk through a door, look at the product, pay for it, put it in the car, take it home, into a click of a button.
Yeah.
So it was like an innovation, like the likes of which we've never really seen,
Mm.
particularly in terms of scale. I mean, when you think of companies like Amazon, how slick that business is. A good example, 10 minutes before I came on here, I received some bits of engineering kit I need to do a job in my workshop, which I ordered at 11 o'clock last night.
Yeah.
And they're there. It was probably as quick as me driving to the
It's
ironmonger
amazing,
to
isn't it?
buy it,
Yeah. Yeah. I
and
mean,
cheap.
do you, when you look back to, say, the mid to late 90s, when this was all really kicking off, did you
Yeah.
ever envisage we would be where we are now in 2026 with it all?
Not as far, I think. I mean, I saw the beginnings of things like burger cafes appearing on high streets, and young people going in and buying burger and chips and sitting at a table to eat it. Before that, you either went to a cafe, which was normally in a department store,
Yeah.
and generally older profile people went in there, or you bought the food, took it home, and made it.
Yeah.
So the Wimpy bars and all the early adopters, the particularly in London, the Italian restaurants, Italian take, and then of course Asian takeaways, Chinese takeaways, just zoof,
Yeah.
it changed the way it was all done completely.
Yeah.
So that was innovation, but done on a massive scale globally.
Yeah. Definitely. I
Yeah,
remember Wimpy. I used to love that. I think there's
yeah,
only a
yeah.
few left now, isn't there?
I remember the first Wimpy. I lived in Burton-on-Trent at the time. The first Wimpy bar came into the high street, and it was like, wow,
Yeah.
very American, red leather stools and that sort of
It,
thing. It was,
it was, wasn't it? But it
ooh-wee.
actually had cutlery, from what
Yeah,
I remember.
yeah,
Unlike McDonald's and what have you, or Burger King. And you sat down. It was weird, wasn't it? So you actually had it came on a plate with a
yeah.
knife and fork, didn't it? But
That's right. Yeah,
oh, I loved it.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, from my point of view, when I was one of my third year projects back in '99 now, and exhibited it in 2000, the way I saw the internet was, like I say, it got off to a shaky start, but I knew that it was going to be everything, and it would really
Oh
dominate
yes.
our lives. And I had this idea that one day we will be able to order food online and have it delivered.
Yes, yeah,
Just to give young people maybe an idea of that, of how forward thinking that was. Back then,
yeah,
that was impossible. Really,
yes.
it was never going to happen. But anyway, I scripted an online menu basically,
Mm-hmm.
and you could do exactly that. You could go online, choose your food, and put it in the basket, and then that's it.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
the idea then was for it to be in a kind of futuristic restaurant where you all sit down, you put into the computer what you want, and then pay for it, and it gets brought out to you.
absolutely, yeah.
Well, I got scorned for that. The tutors absolutely rubbished it as an idea.
Yeah,
And they were like, why would anybody order food over the internet? And I said, well, it's not happening yet, but one day it will do,
oh, yeah,
because I can just see how this could evolve. And
oh, yeah, yeah,
I always think about it, here we
yeah,
are.
absolutely.
I could power up my
That's the
smartphone,
key
go onto
key to
Uber.
everything you
Yeah,
need to do. Yes,
exactly.
I
So,
think motorways made a big difference to this country. Pre-motorway, there was the odd transport cafe, which was for lorry drivers,
yeah,
and it was literally greasy spoon, plastic tablecloth, bacon, egg, and chips, and that was it.
mm,
And the motorways came, and of course, the American boys were really onto this because they knew there's 10,000 cars an hour going past the front door, and they're all driving long distances, and they're
yeah,
all getting hungry and thirsty. So you build a huge car park and put a range of fast food outlets on it. Bam, instant industry.
yeah.
So
It
it's funny
captured
that
audience.
building a road created an industry for fast food.
Yeah, yeah. So just to give you something I may not have ever told you before, as to the big pull for me to come work for Tidyco, was back in November 2015. I went to this what you would call a digital expo,
Yeah,
and it was Chamber of Commerce. And Microsoft were there, and they were talking about big data and live data. I was reading, not yet. I was starting to read about the Internet of Things. Come early 2016, I would be reading Alec Ross's Industries of the Future.
yes,
But I remember, and that inspired me massively. So a lot of what I was looking at us to do together was all inspired by this book. But in 2015, the Department for International Trade, as they were then, I think, they were there, and they were talking about using e-commerce to export.
yes,
And I remember thinking, wow, I really want to have a go at that, because at that point I was working with very local UK businesses and doing all their website stuff. But I thought,
yeah,
wow, I really am excited about all this Internet of Things, really excited about exporting and and anyway, so I saw the job vacancy, and I could see there was I saw the online store
hmm,
that you had built, really, and didn't know you yet, and I could see that they were trying to push for export, and so I went for the interview and got it.
yeah,
And but that was really what was pulling me. That was just, people always say, oh, was it the railway industry? Well, that was just magic, but that
yeah,
wasn't actually the original thing. It was actually this, what we could do with an online store and export.
yes, yes,
That was really my big driver and passion as to why
yeah,
I wanted to come work for Tidyco. So between
mm,
2017 and 19, most of our work together was actually remote, wasn't it?
yes, yeah, it
I was,
was.
I was in Derby, in the
Yeah,
Midlands, and you were in Portsmouth down on the South
that's
Coast.
right. That's
So way
right.
before COVID, I mean, we've been remote working
Yeah, yeah,
since the internet, really. So
yeah.
it
I
wasn't
suppose we're
anything.
in an industry where that is a lot easier to do in a way. Everything's focused on server delivery.
Yeah,
And as long as you can access that server as a viewer or a builder or whatever, you can work together just as efficiently as sitting in the same office.
yeah,
It's
yeah, and
simple
we're
as that.
evidence of that. Yeah, but very rarely. I mean, occasionally we sat in the same office in that little server room, didn't we? But
Yes, yeah,
no, it was mostly remote. And so basically, this e-commerce site, capable of exporting industrial parts. It really was
Yes.
hydraulic and pneumatic and stuff like that. I mean, what we did with it was fantastic. But I mean, for you, Bob, what are some of the standout moments or memories you have from 2017 and 19 when we were working together?
I think probably the biggest one was the, apart from Cyber Essentials, which you were heavily involved in, I was less involved in that because it was more putting into the business certain practices and certain firewalls, if you like, to strengthen the business. So it wasn't so much a construction of site point of view as you making sure that the whole company got on board with it and, took it under your belt very much so and made it a success as well.
Yeah.
And I think as a assurance to Tidyco's customers, it's an unknown amount of kudos there when you think about it. If you can put Cyber Essentials all over everything you do,
Yes.
it's a massive accolade, really.
Yeah. I think just to give you an idea on that, and in fact, we'll go into Cyber Essentials and the amazing work we did on that. Again, everything that I was reading in 2016 before I met you was that there was, look, it's the Internet of Things, more connected devices,
Yes.
more cyber
Yeah.
attacks, more cybercrime, and I think in 2016 I was talking about the Internet of Things a lot, but the kind of social scene I was in then went over their head.
Yes.
But I just knew that there was very likely going to be a global cyber attack.
Yeah.
Joined Tidyco, met yourself, really made the decision to get Cyber Essentials. That was one of the first things I did, actually.
Yes.
And the irony of it, or the uncanny timing of it, we got Cyber Essentials, and it was like a month later, if that, the global WannaCry attack happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, it caused chaos internationally, but here in the UK, the NHS was crippled and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah.
And it just proved, to my mind, I was right, really, to do it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so what do you remember getting Cyber Essentials? What were the challenges that we faced, and what kind of activities did we undertake?
Well, I found from my perspective, it really was something which was not on my plate. I understood what it was, and I understood that eventually it would fall to me to make the world more aware that Cyber Essentials was in place. But I think it was very, very much on your remit to get Cyber Essentials up and running and sorted. But the one thing I did completely agree with and recognise is that having that Cyber Essentials stamp on everything you do where people are inputting in a keyboard was absolutely vital.
Yeah.
And you made it work.
Yeah. And one thing that we did, we got an agency in and they did a remote penetration test and absolutely hacked us to bits.
Yeah, I'm sure they would.
So, I mean, this was also, they were good hackers, trying to test our strengths and weaknesses and what have you. So we did a whole website overhaul.
Yeah.
We moved the platform altogether, and we chose a platform, or you found a platform that was brilliant. I really liked that. That was a good content managed system. But did a lot of upgrading. Behind the scenes, I think when people saw the Cyber Essentials badge, I don't think they quite realised the amount of work that we were putting.
Yeah, that's behind it. Yeah, absolutely.
It was a major. We had to overhaul so much, didn't we?
Oh yes, yeah.
And also make sure all the internal operating systems were all patched up and up to date.
Yeah, yeah. But I can remember the very, very early days, and this was well before your time at Tidyco. Tidyco actually, as things progressed, Tidyco made the move to have their own physical web server, which was hosted in a data center in somewhere in the Midlands. I can't quite recall now. But literally, they owned this piece of hardware which did everything online for them. All their email, and really was a very bad move at the time.
Yeah.
Because what they'd done is invested in hardware and then packed it full of work and effort. And the only thing that was needed to bring the whole lot crashing down was a disk failure.
Yeah.
As simple as that, which no one can predict. So we very rapidly got a bit burned on that. This is, I say, way before your time.
Yeah.
And we moved back into a managed hosting where you've got a bunch of guys. Your installation is spread over a range of servers. It's backed up. It's automatically switched from server to server if there's an issue. So much more resilience.
Yeah.
So that was a big lesson for us. At the time, we thought, oh, great, we'll have our own web server. We can do what we like with it. We can put whatever we like on it and blah, 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 without realizing what we'd built was destined to fail.
Yeah.
Physical hard drives in a machine have a finite life, particularly when they're hammered like
Yeah.
a web server. And that's in fact what happened. The whole thing slowed down to a crawl. It was sort of recognized by the hosting company that the disk drive was about to go, and we had nowhere to go.
Wow.
We had no backup, no other machine to put anything on. Everything that we'd built was sitting on there, apart from my local copies.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of midnight oil and a lot of driving across the countryside.
Yeah.
And we ended up hosting in a company in Derby, a small company. And then we made the move to CPIO in
Yeah. I
Birmingham.
remember
We
that. Yeah. Yeah.
got a huge backup facility and, lots and lots of techies on the job if anything goes wrong.
Yeah.
So, I realised that specifying the hardware was not part of what I was intended to do.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever told me that one before, but you live and learn. I guess.
Yeah.
You live and learn. But I guess in terms of where we are, 2026, and all the cyber attacks we had last year, some high
Yeah.
profile ones like Jaguar Land Rover and Marks and Spencers and Co-op.
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah.
we were, I would say, totally right to get Cyber Essentials back then, because it was really
Yes.
paving the way forward for what we see a lot today, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. I'd certainly, without a shadow of a doubt, recommend going for things like Cyber Essentials.
Yeah.
Anything you can do that A, solidifies and protects your assets online, and B, gives your customers a sense of, if you like, protection and well-being.
Yeah.
Can't be a bad thing to do. That's an obvious good thing to take.
Yeah,
So,
it's an ethical one, isn't it? Because it's protecting people and data.
Of course,
but
yeah.
on the commercial side, I mean, if you want to supply into the Ministry of Defence, well, Cyber Essentials is a must-have. Otherwise, you're not even going to get a foot in the door.
Well, I suppose by the nature of it, any online company dealing online, such as Tidyco, both with hardware sales and with labour, the engineers on site tracking hours, you automatically accumulate a lot of information off of all of your clients.
Yes.
Their names, their telephone numbers, their position, everything about them you've got on your system. So therefore, I think it's really empowers you to make sure that's as safe as possible.
Do you know
Because
what?
you're not just risking your own company, you're risking every client's company.
Yeah, and it's an ethical responsibility, I think, and something that I would say, kind of 10 years ago, really, marketing people were not very aware of the responsibilities that they have, because they've got all this data that you talk about, all this confidential information.
Yep.
And it almost seemed to me that they didn't understand the value of that, or also their sort of responsibility to keep that safe, and that's what I was kind of seeing there. And I think marketing people, IT people have got so much responsibility that they don't often realise that they have,
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to the online store, my final report in 2019, before I went off to another adventure, it showed that 67% of pure online transactions were exports.
Yes.
There was a lot to the Far East, and we had there was somebody in Japan, Sapporo, is it?
Yeah.
Repeat customer, very loyal. We were exporting a lot to Vietnam, Singapore,
Yes.
doing a lot with Australia, lots of the United States.
Mhm.
Not much in the EU, actually.
No. Yes, I was aware of that, and I still fail to understand it. Why the EU are reluctant, really, to deal online with the UK.
Yeah.
Very one of those things.
I mean, could it be that they've got lots of, I mean, it was a Parker distributor, wasn't it? And could it be they've
Yes, yeah.
got all their own internal Parker distributors? I don't know, but
I
then
think possibly so. They're more likely to have it within their own boundaries already,
yeah,
and they tend to prefer to deal with a local company if they possibly can.
yeah, it could be a very
Whereas I
local
think I
distributor.
think the Vietnam people, such as the Vietnamese, Chinese, they're after the deal. You
Yeah,
know, if they can find what they're looking for, the quality they're looking for, delivery time they're looking for, the price is right, they'll buy wherever
yeah,
it's from.
yeah.
Um,
And what I remember as well, as much as our pure online export sales were good, actually there was a lot of email inquiries coming in from overseas to haggle on price. So
yes,
they'd
yeah,
found us online, but then they wanted to
yeah, yeah,
strike a bargain, and here in the UK we're not so good at that, are we? But
no,
international buyers are very good at trying to
oh
get the
yes,
price. So,
yeah.
but I guess looking at, I mean, it was a success without a doubt. But what were the main drivers to the success we had in international trade, and had there actually been any before? Much of it before I joined, and what drove
Not really. No, there was no real. It was assumed, I think, that you bang a website up, you put all the products you can sell on that website, and generally you've got a very UK based perspective on it.
it?
You think it's going to be someone in Nottingham or someone in Derby or someone in Lichfield who's going to buy your water pump and have it shipped
Mm,
next day and so on. You can't imagine that some guy in an office in Vietnam would be interested in a Tangy Jack from you. You know,
yeah,
it's, but they were. And I suppose the reasons for that are that globally there are regulations and restrictions on sales and import duties and taxes, and these international buyers weigh up the most efficient way of getting the product they need onto their customer or their own company.
yeah.
And if that happens to be your company based in the UK, so be it. I
I
mean,
think what,
Tidyco had never built a jack, but they sold lots of jacks.
yeah, a lot, yeah,
And I think the part of the success of that was they went for big brand names.
yeah,
You know, Tangy, best in the business.
yeah,
Everyone who's in the lifting industry knows Tangy jacks. So
yeah.
you don't have to question what will it do, how good will it be, how long will it last. You know that.
Yeah,
All you're looking at is, yes, I can get it. Can I have
they're
it tomorrow?
indestructible, pretty much, aren't they?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and in fact, I think as well, you know, we were going to talk about the Tangy lifting jacks. We had so much export success with them, and I think it was search engine optimization as well.
Yes.
It
Yeah,
was all driven by
absolutely.
product code, wasn't it? And that's what
Yes.
people search for, product code in this industrial equipment kind of thing.
Yes. Yep.
And heck, put a product code in, and we were at the top. And
Bang. Yeah. Got to
bang,
be
there
in
you
that
go.
top. You got to be in that top five.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I think you've mentioned that we did very well with Tangy heavy lifting jacks
Yeah.
because of the brand that they are and the search engine optimization, and we did a
Yes.
lot of export for them. Um, so I guess kind of a precursor to where we are in 2026. So in 2018, so again I've got to go back in time a little bit here. So back in 2014, 15, 16, um, the head of that marketing department then was putting live chat onto the websites.
Yes.
Very good, I've got to say. But they were operated by humans,
Yes.
as it was then. Thankfully, not me, because I was driving all over the place. But there were a couple of interns at the head office that were responding to it.
Yep.
And I thought to myself back then, well, this isn't going to be too long until this live chat is automated. Really,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
such an easy thing to automate this. So in
Yep.
2018, I putting a chatbot onto the Tideco
Yeah,
website,
yeah,
and
and
it was $4. Okay, it was $4 for this chatbot,
yeah,
and plugged it in, and basically it was just dead simple stuff. It was prompt commands, if this
yes,
do that, if that do this. So it's written.
yeah,
So I thought, well, this is simple kid stuff, really, but it's the internet connectivity that has made it really powerful. And
yes,
after the first week, we actually got an online order, and it was a Tangy lifting jack through
yeah,
this chatbot, and it
yeah,
was an export to Portugal. So this very
hmm
simple chatbot technology was able to do an export like that. But we had to then humanly deliver that
yes,
export.
yeah, process it, yeah,
But it took the order and
yeah,
sent it my way, and I sent it where it needed to be. And I just thought to myself, what a return on investment when it comes to marketing. $4,
mm,
plug in a chatbot,
yeah,
and then sell 17 grand's worth of kit.
yeah, that's right,
Export. So I guess,
yeah.
what did you make of that chatbot thing? Was it
Yeah,
ahead?
I thought it was a brilliant way to go. I mean, I'd not bumped up against chatbots other than finding them on external sites here and there.
Yeah.
So I didn't quite understand how they were put together until you sort of put one in, and then I began to see. I mean, basically, it was early AI.
Yes, it was.
That's what chatbot is, the beginnings of AI.
Yeah.
Uh, the keywords trigger key responses,
Mm.
but very quick, very efficient, and brilliant for, I think, offline website where everyone's gone home for the night, but the
Yeah.
website's still talking to people.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
case in point with that
superb.
chatbot, it took that order for Portugal on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and it was the precursor of it all. But what I would say at the time, a lot of people were plugging in chatbots, but they weren't spending time developing them.
yeah, yeah,
So you would go
home.
onto a chatbot and it would be absolutely useless and it would be
Yeah,
infuriating. But I actually
yeah,
spent time um, thinking of every conceivable thing to program
yeah,
into it
yeah,
and train it as well, train the
yeah,
bot and stuff. It was nifty. I mean, it wouldn't just give some text, it would also flash up images of the product that you're
yeah,
looking for
yeah,
and a link to that actual page as well. So,
yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
it,
very.
it was a sign of things to come, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely a leap forward for the web store, without any doubt.
Yeah. I mean, it's dinosaur now,
Yeah,
really.
yes, yeah,
But yeah, for the time, it was good. So I'm going to move on to um, a harebrained idea I had, and I wonder if I ever told you where this idea came from. But I rang you and I said, "Oh, I want to really have a go at e-commerce and exporting to China."
yes,
And something at the time many thought was impossible and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah,
And to give you an idea of where that idea came from, I've been to a Department for International Trade export session again, and they were talking about the Chinese online consumer market being the biggest in the world, blah blah blah. And I thought, well, a lot of that will be consumer stuff like high level
yes, yeah,
stuff, but there's a market, there's a need for our high quality industrial stuff. Um, so at the time when I rang you, Bob, and I said, "Oh, can we ever go exporting digitally to China?" Did you believe it could be done? Did you think I was mad or not?
No, I thought, you picked the hardest target in a way. It was the way I was thinking. Should we put our efforts into selling products into China, or should we be concentrating on companies, in the UK
Yeah,
and chasing those? But you're quite right. It wasn't as much you were changing the direction the company was targeting. You
no,
were adding to it.
that's it.
So the UK local stuff, or what we perceived as local, UK, Europe, Ireland, and so on, was still there and was self-driven. And suddenly, there's this brand new, untapped, uh,
Market.
massive market
Yeah,
where probably, I don't know how many jacks are bought in China every day, but I bet it's umpteen. And if you can get your slice of that by making the right offering, making the product information quick to get hold of, shipping, so on, you've got yourself added value, not just switching the value.
Yeah.
So I think it was well worth it.
And just to give you a bit of an insight here, and we'll go into what we did and the challenges that we faced, because it's political, sociological, technological, isn't it? There's all sorts
Yes.
of issues there. But what we did, Bob, was exceptional with this, right? Because
Yes.
nobody, no SME B2B product supplier would
No.
even consider it. There are two really big companies at that time that were investing millions into export to China,
Yes.
and they pulled away from it. And the point, I guess, to make to people watching this is just two of us, we didn't really have any budget on this thing, did we?
No.
It was just the tech and the grit and the idea and the stuff. But I mean, in terms of, I remember things like, first of all, we had to get government approval to do this.
Yes. Yeah.
And then addressing the culture difference again.
Oh, yes.
And it was a graphic design background from both of us. So a really prosperous colour in China is red. Well, the
Yes.
branded colour in the UK
Introduce
is
that to
blue.
the site and so on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's it. Because the blue colour would be a very negative colour in China.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
did that. But other things like Baidu, which is China's Google, and Alipay. What do you
Yes.
remember
Yeah. I
about that?
recall getting to grips with those. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think
learning curve.
fascinating time, really.
Yeah.
You know, it was like opening a door that you'd never opened before,
Yeah.
and finding that yes, there is another room in here. You know, and
Yeah.
wow, what a room! You know,
Yeah. And Baidu, we got indexed on that, didn't we?
yes,
But there was behind the scenes, it wasn't just plain sailing on that one. It was quite
no,
difficult for us to navigate that infrastructure there. And then
yeah,
Alipay, we didn't just install Alipay, did we? We hit quite a few stumbling blocks with that.
oh yes, yeah,
And right at the end, as we were about to make an order, actually. But for people watching this, Alipay is it's China's PayPal, isn't it?
yeah,
And that if we were to sell online to China, we needed to have Alipay integrated, because that's what they use.
yes,
That was the biggest critical thing, really, in the end with this.
yeah, yeah.
So just to move, we bought a Chinese domain name as well, didn't we? And
We did,
built a bespoke Chinese landing page, got it translated,
yes,
specially translated. I had a Chinese friend that I'd met, Lily, who helped us.
yes.
with
I
that.
remember Lily. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, so we did have this support, but and in the end, we got interviewed by the BBC reporter David James, because nobody
yes.
had ever done this. But do you remember the first export we made to China? What the product was and when it was exported?
Off the top of my head, I would say it was probably a jack,
Yeah, it was.
a tangy jack.
Yeah,
Because there seemed to be a ready market for buying high quality engineered products such as
yeah,
Tangy. And I think the one thing that Tidyco as a company did very well was every brand they added was always blue chip. You know, Honda in their generators,
yeah,
Tangy in jacks, and so on. And I think that gave them their strength online because they were well known, if you like, brands that they were pushing.
yeah.
And people already knew the brand, so you hadn't got to tell them how good the
You haven't
product
got to
was.
tell
It just
Yeah,
come down to price and delivery, and
yeah,
that as much as that.
definitely.
Yeah.
And that first export to China was made on the 2nd of January. So we're all
Yes.
bleary-eyed from our Christmas holidays. And 2nd of January 2019, just before
Right.
the Chinese New Year. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But what we discovered before we broke up for our Christmas, this Chinese consumer was trying to pay on Alipay, but the stumbling block we hit was because of the premium brand that it was and the value of it.
Yeah.
There was a cap on how much you could actually pay in one transaction on
Yes.
Alipay. So
Yes.
we had to, we had to do a bit of fudging there, to technical fudging behind the scenes to get that payment to go through.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just perseverance, isn't it? I mean,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, I think we just had that can-do attitude, didn't we? But
Yes. Yeah.
what at this point, what I'm going to say about you, Bob, is that you I believe in credit where credit is due, because you are without a doubt the best web developer I've ever worked with. Because
Oh, very nice of you.
you're just brilliant. I mean, I must have been a nightmare to you, but you never said no. A lot of people say this is what you've got, that's it. But
Yeah.
you, you were so hands on, and I remember if I'd ring you about stuff like this,
Yeah.
your response would be, "Oh, leave it with me," and
Yes.
I would,
Yeah.
because I knew that you would go away and look at it,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't just come back. You never came back ever with a no. We can't do it.
No. No.
You always found a way or a solution, or, you never. Everything that we did, we did it. We achieved it.
Yeah.
However, even this China thing, we did it.
Yeah.
We
I
succeeded.
think my approach was that if someone else is already doing it, it's doable. You
Yeah,
know, you've just got to find out how it's done. You may come up with a solution that is different to everyone else, but at least you have to go through that investigative phase to find out what can be done, what has already been done, so you don't reinvent the wheel.
yeah,
And what can you add to it that has already been done to make it even better? And
yeah.
that's the approach I put on it, really.
That's digital disruption and
Yep.
innovation again, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you think, when you think about it, do you think our art college training and background helps with all this techie stuff and digital stuff? Because surely we've got this open mind and this creativity, and that's got to play into this a lot,
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
think so. I mean, my early college years, when I transferred over to graphic design from fine art, involved all sorts of things like typesetting. I literally did manual type, making type up in a font and putting it on a printing press and printing
Yeah,
it, and then visiting big printers with lithographic
yeah,
presses and seeing
yeah,
how
yeah.
they worked.
Seeing how that
And
works, yeah,
it had this, I suppose, semi-engineering approach, which blended with the design side. And I think that is where, if you've got both of those guns firing, you're much more impressive, or likely to get a more impressive result than if you think, no, I'm a designer. I'll tell you what color to make it, but I won't tell you how to make it. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
we're not like that. You and I will look at a problem rather than looking on your shelf for a pre-built solution that you've done before.
yeah, yeah. And
Um,
do you think as well? I mean, James Tidy was brilliant, wasn't he? James was
yes.
us was you two just get on with it.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any of that corporate red tape thing.
No.
So
No.
he was, because he was engineer creative, and he
Oh
was,
yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think from my point of view, what an exceptional MD to have, because he brought me on, and he basically said, Barry, whatever you have to do, do it, because he
That's
trusted
right.
you.
Yeah.
And
I would say the same thing. He he was a very clever guy, and
mm,
he never sort of wanted the world to know that he was the clever guy doing all the stuff. But he was always, you'd go to, we've got this problem, we're doing this, and the server says no, and blah, blah, blah. And he'd go, um, we'll do it a different way, do it a different way. We'll do it this way, not this way. And
yeah,
you go, oh, yeah, try
yeah,
that way. Oh, that one works. Yeah, that's great. And
I think
his understanding of database was
yes.
incredible,
Yeah, it was.
you know.
And also, he understood search engine optimization. So,
Yes. Yeah.
from my point of view, it's just as well I'm good at that, because you couldn't fool him, could you?
No, no.
You couldn't just flag it
Yeah.
and. But yeah, I mean, I think we've got a lot to thank James for, because
Oh, yeah.
he just let us get on with it, didn't he? And
Yeah.
he knew that we'd just do
Yeah.
what we do and do some stuff. And I guess when you look back at really just a few years, 2017 to 19, do you think we achieved exceptional things? And do you think many people thought they were impossible? And has what we were doing back then, is that still not mainstream? Maybe it's people
Yeah,
still.
I think what we did over that period was convert Tidyco's, particularly Tidyco's online offering, from Stone Age to the future almost over that period. You know, we just kept on looking for the weak spots and lifting them one by one to get them, you know, firing on all four cylinders, as it were.
Yeah,
And it worked, it paid off.
it did.
You know, we looked at every aspect. We looked at search engines, we looked at speed of page loading, all of that sort of thing came
Yeah,
into it.
yeah.
And, you know, I think it definitely worked. It was definitely a success.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, definitely. And it's something I think in my life will be difficult to replicate what we what we did back then, because, like I
Yeah,
say, we nobody was doing it really, and it was a magical thing of two people
yes.
with shared similarities and a can-do attitude, you know. But
One thing I do take a slight bit of pride in is the first client I had when I opened the office that I spoke about in the little shop happened to be Dave Tidy, who was running a tool hire business
yes,
in
cool.
Derby.
Yeah,
And I got the idea of tool hire, that's send them out, bring them back, send them out, bring them back. And I designed the snowflake,
yes,
you
yeah,
know, the arrows going in and out. And
yeah,
that's still in use. And goodness knows how many years ago that was that I
yeah,
first put that on a bit of print.
yeah.
But it still stands up. You know, I can honestly say I'm not thinking, oh, it's
So,
looking a bit dated now. It's still good.
so the concept of that is, and this is your graphic design, isn't it? The concept of that is that there's arrows coming in and arrows going out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what you're saying there is there's the warehouse with tools
yeah.
and
We're at
tools
the
are coming
centre of
in.
this,
Yeah,
and it's stuff's going out, it's being returned, going out, being
yeah.
returned.
And just on that logo, that actually is the most wonderful logo I've ever worked with in my career there, because it had a story to it.
Yeah,
So when I
yeah,
was doing like content marketing or writing and stuff, that logo just gave that story, and
yes, yeah,
people connected with it on an emotional level as well, you know.
yeah.
So
I think so. I think
it's
so.
great.
It
It's great. I
worked.
mean, it's been modernised a bit, hasn't it, over the years?
Yeah,
But
it's been
it got,
sharpened off and so on, but still
yeah,
basically the same thing coming
yeah.
from it.
But the concept is timeless, really,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah. So
yes,
what? Bit of history on Zydeco there was that that's how it started. Dave
yeah,
Tidy sat with me one day and told me how he began this thing, and it was a tool hire
that's
business.
right.
And then eventually he sold that, which became Speedy Hire, if I'm correct.
Yes, yes,
And then Zydeco went its way into the hydraulics, pneumatics, and then
yeah,
into rail and other industries and stuff.
yeah.
So
I think they saw the future going into mobile engineers,
yeah,
on-site hydraulic fitters. That's where they sprang to after the tool hire phase.
yeah,
They moved much more into we'll send a guy to fix your problem instead of you coming in to buy something.
yeah.
And, you know, that paid off tremendously for them.
Mm,
You know, I think they're probably one of the most well-known mobile engineering companies, certainly in the Midlands, if not the UK.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, for me as well. I mean, I as well as joining Zydeco for the online export stuff that was exciting me, I joined for the climate control division
Yeah,
because I'd had a whole history in HVAC.
yes,
So that was another driver for me. But when I got involved with the rail industry in 2017,
mm,
that just captured my heart.
yeah,
Really, the passion that I had for it, because I don't know. There's a history of rail in my family,
yes, yeah,
and that kind of stuff, and I just have always liked trains. And suddenly,
yes,
to be
yeah,
in that environment, I was like in my
yeah.
element. And without Tidigo, that I would have never
No,
been
no,
introduced to rail. And I'm still heavily involved with it today and stuff like that. And we all know each other. And
yes, yeah,
that's me, cool.
yeah.
Wow, it kind of changed
Oh,
where
yeah,
I was at and where I was going, and so there's a lot to thank for that.
yeah. I think the birth of Tidyco's online selling store, online store, came very much from Honda. someone at Tidyco formed a link with the Honda people in Japan
Yeah.
and suggested that as well as stuff on their shelves, they could have Honda generators on the shelf to sell over the counter. And that was really the birth of their online presence in selling, because James particularly very quickly realized that these things would go like,
Hot
hot
cake.
cakes online.
Mm.
Little suitcase generators, easy, already come in a box. There you go. Put the label on it. Off you go. Shipped.
Mm.
And he was right. I think the first, it was either the first year or the second year of launching Honda
Yeah.
HondaPower.co.uk.
Yeah.
It sold £250,000 worth of
Wow.
generators.
Yeah. Yeah.
And immediately the next thought tumbled in: if we can sell generators, we can sell anything.
Yeah.
We can sell oil filters, we can sell, everything to do with engineering industry.
Yeah.
If we've got it on the shelf, we can sell it. And
Yeah.
that was the beginning of a Honda store, of the Tidyco store.
Yeah. And then ultimately, even white label and dropship stuff as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
just to give people an idea on the sheer size of this online store, it was all feeding off big data of different suppliers and stuff like that. It was all real time stuff. I
Yep.
don't think we could even comprehend how many product lines there were on that store.
Oh, good grief. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
Hundreds of thousands.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and if people kind of can't get their heads around that, well, how can you not know what products, how many
Yep.
products you've got?
Yep.
It's just because it's this big data. And,
Yes.
you know,
Yep.
I mean, how many Parker items were there? I mean, you
Yes.
don't know, do you? It's unfathomable. So it's really clever stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just thinking, do you remember there was a time, and we by the way were Cyber Essentials secure by now, and our server was where that was sitting was completely secure. It wasn't a shared server space or anything like that. It was a
Yep.
proper lockdown server, wasn't it? Just
Yep.
dedicated to us. But I remember ringing you up because I was looking on Google Analytics, as it was then, GA4 now, looking at real time. And I kept seeing this little ping of traffic in Russia coming on,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
booting the rest of the world off. And then it would disappear and the rest of the world would come back online, and it would repeat that pattern. And
Yes.
basically, it was an attempt at a cyber attack.
Yes. Yep.
And, but we were totally safe and secure anyway. And but they were trying to get in and whatever, and not maybe get in to try and get somewhere else. But it was fascinating to watch a cyber attack in real time. And I
Yes.
rang you up and told you really what was going down, and you just blocked their IP address and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
washed them
got
off.
the entire range. Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that was almost a daily fight for a while, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was like every day. Oh, we've got a new one here. Block, new
Yeah.
one. And someone else has popped up now. They're coming from Romania. Block.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it's just. I mean, looking at last year with all the cyber attacks in, but it we were so right to get that cyber essentials thing because it was now happening, and
Yes.
and the fact that I could look on Google Analytics real time as it was then at the real time traffic and just see all this cyber attack stuff going on.
Oh yes. Yeah.
But again, between the two of us, we're not cybersecurity people, are we?
No.
Really?
No.
But between us, me on analytics and you being able to block IP addresses, we were just
Yeah.
cyber defending
Just
ourselves.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting times.
It was, yeah, and still continue to be. And actually,
Yes.
that kind of leads me on to kind of at the end of the interview here, really. But in terms of what has been the biggest digital disruption since our time working together, what do you think that is?
The biggest digital disruption. I guess thinking about it, I think is likely to be AI
Yeah,
based,
yeah,
because I think it's natural that you don't keep reinventing the wheel. Once the wheel's invented, you just copy it and plug it in.
yeah,
You wouldn't design a car and think, how do we make it roll along? maybe we need something that's round and let's try it. You
yeah,
go, send me 4 wheels, make them blue and put tyres on them and bang. And I think that's the way it will become.
mm,
I think you'll say, right, why would I go to the extent of handcrafting an entire store online and then handcrafting all of the security and all of the background to it when I can go to source A and go, I'll take that lump, and that lump, put them together, it works, it's been proven to be impenetrable, it's perfect solution, off we go.
mm,
And I think Tidyco's last move of the website onto a Magento based system was very much traffic in that direction.
yeah,
It's a big, well supported, well proven system that is not hand built. If you hand the best will in the world, as far as you can put every effort into handcrafting a bespoke product, and someone will find a hole in it
yeah,
because you're the only guy working with it.
mm,
If you take like a Magento system, there are hundreds, probably thousands of people, technicians that have looked at every aspect of it.
mm,
So you're buying armor basically around your development.
yeah.
Uh,
And in terms of artificial intelligence, I agree with you there. That is a game changer, and it's gonna give a disruption, or is giving a disruption in a way that has never been done before,
yeah,
I think. And there's lots of positives, and there's lots of concerns as well. I mean, it's going to change. I think when you look at robotics in terms of manufacturing,
mm,
we can see that. Or certainly where I live is heavily manufacturing based and automotive,
yeah,
and you can see how those metal robots have changed stuff. But I think what AI is going to massively change are jobs that we once thought would be safe, and
yes,
that's jobs like marketing. It's
yep,
jobs like HR, finance, legal, all
yep.
the kind of white collar type jobs that we never thought would be hit, but it's going to disrupt everything.
Oh,
But
absolutely. Yeah,
it,
absolutely will.
it will, but it's a case of, do you control that technology? And one thing that Alec Ross said when I talked to him, and I would say this is advice to everybody: do you master that technology, be a slave to your head, slave to it, or bury your head in the sand? Well, I think you take our attitude and
Mm.
own something and use it as a tool and create something with it. So
Yes, yes.
definitely disruptive. And in terms of web development, AI is going to change your
Oh,
product.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely will.
You know,
And I think what my approach to that would be, well, rather than try and work around it, let's get into it.
yeah,
Let's take part in it and
let's
find out how it
hear it.
can help me do the job that I do.
Yeah,
And I'm sure it can. If I think back at the hours and hours that I've spent typing code trying to get something to flick in, and
yeah,
start working, and multiple attempts, and it's nearly there but not quite, and then you do it again and again and again.
yeah,
The odds are that that's a question for AI, and it comes back and tells you exactly how to do it.
yeah.
It works
So
out every single option in a split second and says, well, these are your options. This is the best one. Bang.
yeah, yeah,
And that's it. That's really in a nutshell. But I think that's where we have to accept that AI will be, if you like, the sum of lots and lots of independent, very clever people combining their power and talent into one source.
yeah,
So your chances of being better than that are very, very limited.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, something that wasn't in the script that I sent you. I mean, just in the news this week, it's been sort of said about the young people are having a really tough time at the
Yeah,
minute,
yeah,
and that they're struggling to get an education. They're
yes,
struggling to get employment, and there's this AI thing going on as well. That the companies are actually holding back and waiting to see what AI does, because why
yes,
pay a human being, and it's quite. I feel really sad for the younger generation at the minute, but
Yeah.
I guess my advice to them would be: it's not your fault. You're really caught in this political, technological, and sociological issue, and you're not doing anything wrong because you're trying, but you're being let down at the minute. And if
Yes.
I was to give any advice to young people, I would say, well, make something for yourself and do it yourself. Take
Yeah.
what Rob and I were like, where we just sort of built something and innovated and created, and
Yeah.
don't necessarily wait for a corporate system to give you a chance because it's failing you at the minute. So
Yes.
now's
Yeah.
your time with all this tech and your creativity, just to say, all right, you're not giving me a fair deal, so I'm going to make my own way,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's tough, but I just felt when I saw it in the news this week what a tough time young
Mm.
people are having. But don't give up hope and don't disbelieve
Yeah.
in yourself because this is a new
That's
dawn, a
right.
new
I think a lot of big companies, particularly, are looking at the whole issue of employment. It's a significant cost for any business,
yeah,
and they're moving away from the type where you would populate at the bottom level, the incoming level,
yeah,
lots and lots of bodies to do menial tasks, if you like,
yeah,
just to keep control of it. I'm thinking here, my wife works within a supermarket, well known upper brand supermarket, and they used to employ basically school leavers just for things like going along the shelves and checking everything was in date.
yeah,
So there'd be perhaps two or three youngsters in every store who spent their entire working day looking at labels, dates on labels on the shelves.
mm,
And somebody, as obviously higher up, said, "Why are we doing this? Why don't we know what's on the shelves?" And somebody,
mm,
we've just got to change the software that
yeah,
books things in and books things out. We know exactly what's on the shelf and how old it is and which shelf it's on.
yeah.
And we don't need the kids anymore. So those kids who would go on to become under managers and managers don't get the entrance.
Don't get the opportunity. Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, it's a challenging time, I think.
Yes, I think it is.
Yeah, it is definitely. So, in terms of yourself, Bob, what is next on your agenda? What are you up to next?
Well, I'm tending to do more things on my own account rather than sit and stare at a computer screen all day.
Yeah,
I'm probably working at maybe 60% of the pace that I did in my heyday, but I'm still enjoying it. And as long as I enjoy it, I'll still keep doing it. I mean, I lease a web server of my own, and on there I've got 20 client websites that I A have built every single one.
mm,
B, I charge them for hosting
yeah,
and email and so on. So there's this like rolling interest. Every morning I get up, I can look at my inbox and expect to see something business wise happening.
yeah,
Someone saying, "Can you add this email address to our account?" or "Can you change the color of this from red to blue?" And it's just nice little tinkering along at much slower pace than I'm accustomed to, but
yeah.
keeps the head spinning
Get
and
going.
keeps the
Yeah,
wheels turning.
yeah. And I think our creative side of us is neither of us are ever really going to stop working, are
No,
we?
no,
One way or another. Yeah.
no. I think I see it as part of me, and
Yes. Yeah.
obviously keep it going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about the wood carving? Are you still doing that?
Yeah, I've not been doing as much of that recently because I've been very much involved in home improvements. I've just finished putting up a oak framed pergola onto the side of my house so that we
Okay.
can sit out there in the autumn evenings and with a glass of wine and
Yeah.
something to eat, and it's very pleasant. But that includes the ordering in, designing it so it would all fit together,
Yeah.
ordering all the components from a company up in Yorkshire who delivered it, immensely heavy stuff. You're talking about 8-inch square posts of
Mm,
solid oak, some of them 3-4 meters long.
Yeah.
probably, I don't know, upwards of 80, 90 kilos each.
Yeah.
And raising those and dropping on the top is no mean feat, but
No.
that
Oh,
led
right.
me to buying scaffolding, hoists, and all sorts of
Well,
things.
you're giving yourself more work there, by the
Yeah,
sound.
yeah, yes,
Fantastic. I
yeah.
mean, Bob.
Funny enough, when I was at school, my brother had a building company. Consequently, I worked for him at weekends, labouring and scaffolding and so on.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I've always had this hands-on side to me. I would not think twice about digging a trench to put a drainage ditch in and
Okay.
then going inside and creating a website. It's just as much interest in my head in the
Yeah.
two.
Multi-talented. Well,
Yeah,
listen, Bob. Thank you so much for your time
that's
today.
okay.
It's been brilliant. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you again.
Yes,
And
indeed it is.
just
Likewise.
the work we did, I will always be proud of it. And
Yeah, and rightly so.
yeah, brilliant stuff that we achieved. So thank you for everything that you did for me between those 3 years.
No
You made
problem.
my vision a reality, and I couldn't have done it without you. So exceptional stuff. Thank
Yeah,
you,
and I
Bob.
think that goes both ways, Barry.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye.